FedEx offers fast, reliable delivery.
Hi again, everyone, and thanks for logging on. This is the preview show delivered by FedEx Racing. I'm Vince Giolini, and so pleased to welcome back from Charlotte and the Hall of Fame studios there, Mr. Marty Snider of NASCAR on TNT. Marty, good to see you again, friend.
Good to see you, Vince. Ready to go to Atlanta this weekend. It's the first time we've only gone there one time a year, so I'm kind of upset I don't get to see you guys more than once a year.
Well, we go from under the lights in Bristol, and Keselowski does it again. It's really an amazing story. To, as you said, under the lights at AMS, and that'll be Sunday night. And Marty, worn track, it's fast. There's going to be racing top to bottom. Sounds like an exciting night here in Atlanta.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of sad. We only go there once a year. I think Ed Clark and his staff does a terrific job at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it's a fun racetrack to go to. I wish we could still go there twice a year. As you mentioned, you can run all over the racetrack. Very fast racetrack. It's a worn-out racetrack. We run under the lights, which will make it even a little bit more exciting. So I think the worn-out factor of the racetrack is what makes it very intriguing and makes it very interesting is how the drivers approach it. So it's a fun racetrack and a handful for the drivers, but it's a very interesting race.
Oh, it's going to be sensational. All right, speaking of those drivers, we talked to Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick, a couple of past winners in Atlanta, two of the guys who are contenders for the chase, talking about Atlanta Motor Speedway this week and how it just might be a barometer for the chase.
It is an indicator of how your chances are going to be at the mile and a half coming after that, and those are the really important ones. So we'll go to Atlanta with pull out all the stops, do everything we would want to do in the chase.
Atlanta in itself doesn't do anything for us performance-wise because it's just so slick and slow, so worn out. It's kind of its own beast. But running good anywhere is a good thing, and especially as we get closer to the chase.
Well, there you have it, Marty. Do you agree? Do you think this is a good measuring stick as we get to the chase in just a couple of races?
You know what? I've talked to a lot of crew chiefs about this, and some agree with Carl in the fact they think that this is a good measuring stick. It's really more to get them in a rhythm for the mile-and-a-half racetracks, and they'll be racing at night, so that'll help them for Charlotte, which is coming up into the chase. But I kind of side more with Kevin Harvick because Atlanta really is its own animal. I mean, it's a racetrack where the grip is so different. You can't really tell how it's going to be at other racetracks. You go from day to night. You don't really do that at other racetracks. So I think it's really more of its own animal. It's a very difficult racetrack to get a hold of, and you can't take setups there and make them work at other mile-and-a-half racetracks.
Well, this race, I would think, means many things to many people and teams. So let's talk about that. Exactly making this race work for you and customizing it to your own needs if you're a driver or a team.
Well, I think the biggest problem is I was talking to Slugger Labby about this earlier this week, crew chief for Paul Menard, and he said there's so many different agendas out there this weekend that's going to be very unusual. You've got guys trying to get themselves in the top 10 like Brad Keselowski, who desperately wants to make that happen in the next 2 weeks because if he does that, he gets reseeded. You've got guys back there in the top 20 like Slugger Labby's team trying to make it up further so they can get themselves up into the wild card. Tony Stewart trying to stay in the top 10. And then on top of all that, you've got these other guys trying to win $1 million bonus this weekend from Sprint. So I think more than usual, we'll see our fair share of gamblers this weekend, taking some chances at the end of the race, trying to win this thing, because if $1 million is on the line or a chase spot is on the line, I think you'll see a lot of guys taking some chances this weekend, Vince.
Well, what's better than gambling and racing? A lot of gotta like that combination. All right, Marty, give me a couple of keys to victory at Atlanta Motor Speedway and the Advocare 500.
Well, I think there are a lot of big keys this weekend. One of the biggest things is the wear that we talked about. The way the car changes throughout a run, you'll see these tires fall off 2 seconds by the beginning of the run to the end of the run. I was talking to Steve Letarte about that. So I think one of the big keys this weekend, you have to make your car good on old tires, good at the end of a run. We see that happen everywhere we go, but it's even more magnified at Atlanta. Another big key, how good is your simulation program? Because, again, this is the only time we've come to Atlanta this year. Last year's notes do not work. And all the practices are during the day. There's one practice sort of at dusk time, late in the evening or late in the afternoon on Friday night. That's the only practice that's kind of close to what the race will be like. So how good was your simulation program and how good can you guess? But I think the big key is going to be you can't take a chance with 2 tires at the end of the race. We mentioned those gamblers. I don't think they'll be taking 2 tires unless they have very low laps on those left side tires, because 4 tires is going to be the way to go this weekend at Atlanta. So It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of this race. You probably will have to